What would you do, if the person you love most in this world made a promise, that neither of you could survive without the other? Stay with me till the end, because this story will break you, and heal you at the same time. And if you believe in real love, the kind that defies death, hit subscribe right now. You don't want to miss stories like this. It began on a rainy evening that felt like the sky itself was mourning something that hadn't happened yet. Matteo never believed in destiny, not until the night he met Elena. She was standing under a flickering streetlight, soaked, shivering, yet smiling as if the storm belonged to her. There was something haunting in her eyes, something that didn't ask to be understood, only felt. Matteo offered her his jacket, a simple gesture, but when their fingers brushed, it felt like touching a memory he didn't know he had. That was the first moment everything changed. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into something neither of them dared to name. They were inseparable, not in the loud, obvious way, but in the quiet spaces between words, in glances that lasted too long, in the kind of silence that felt louder than any confession. Elena had a way of making the world disappear. When she laughed, Matteo forgot every worry. When she looked at him, it was as if she could see through every version of him, the past, the present, and the broken future he tried to hide. But Elena carried something heavy inside her. A shadow. A truth she never fully shared. Sometimes, she would stare at nothing, her expression distant, like she was listening to something far away. "Do you ever feel like time is running out?" she asked him once, her voice barely above a whisper. Matteo laughed it off, but something in her tone stayed with him. It wasn't fear. It was certainty. The first crack appeared on a cold morning. Elena didn't show up. No message. No call. Matteo waited for hours before rushing to her apartment, his heart pounding with a fear he couldn't explain. When he arrived, the door was slightly open. Inside, everything was untouched, except for a single note on the table. "If I disappear, don't look for me." Matteo felt the world tilt. His hands trembled as he read the words again and again, hoping they would change. But they didn't. Panic clawed at his chest. This wasn't like her. Elena wasn't the type to leave. Not without a reason. Days passed with no sign of her. Matteo stopped sleeping. He retraced every step, every conversation, every moment they shared. Something didn't add up. And then he remembered the way she used to look at the clock. The way she would sometimes whisper, "Not yet," as if she was bargaining with time itself. Desperation pushed him further than he'd ever gone. He searched hospitals, called her friends, even visited places she once mentioned in passing. Nothing. It was like she had vanished from existence. Until he found the photograph. It was hidden inside a book she once gave him. A picture of Elena, standing next to a grave. Her name carved into the stone. Matteo's breath caught. It didn't make sense. It couldn't. He stared at the date on the grave. It was from years ago. How can you be dead, and alive at the same time? He whispered. That night, everything unraveled. Matteo returned to her apartment, determined to find answers. As he stepped inside, the lights flickered. The air felt different, colder, heavier. And then he heard it. Elena. Her voice. Soft. Fragile. Behind him. He turned slowly, his heart racing, and there she was. Standing in the doorway, pale but unmistakably real. "You shouldn't have looked for me," she said. Tears filled his eyes. "Where have you been? What is this?" "I saw the grave, Elena, what is going on?" She stepped closer, her expression filled with something deeper than sadness. "Regret. I was supposed to die that day," she said quietly. "I did die." Matteo shook his head. "No, you're here. You're alive." She smiled faintly. "Not in the way you think." The truth hit him in fragments. Elena wasn't fully part of this world. She existed in between, caught in something neither life nor death. And the reason she had stayed was him. "I made a deal," she confessed. "I was given time. Limited time. But there was a condition." Matteo's voice broke. "What condition?" Her eyes locked onto his. "If you lose me, you lose yourself too." Silence swallowed the room. "What does that mean?" he asked, though a part of him already knew. "It means," she whispered, "if I die again, you won't survive it." Matteo stepped back, his mind spinning. "That's impossible." "Is it?" she replied. "Think about it. Every moment we've spent together, hasn't it felt like something more than coincidence? Like something binding us." He couldn't deny it. The connection, the intensity, it had always felt unnatural, almost too perfect. I didn't tell you, she continued, tears forming in her eyes, because I wanted you to have a normal life. A chance to walk away. And you thought I would just leave. Matteo said, his voice rising. After everything. That's exactly why I had to disappear, she said. Because I knew you wouldn't. The room felt smaller, suffocating. Matteo ran his hands through his hair, trying to process it all. So what now? You just vanish again. And I pretend none of this happened. Elena looked at him, her expression breaking. That's the only way you live. He laughed bitterly. That's not living. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The weight of the truth hung between them, heavy and unavoidable. Then Matteo made his choice. I'm not letting you go. Her eyes widened. Matteo, I don't care what the rules are, he said firmly. I don't care what happens to me. If you disappear, I'm coming with you. Tears streamed down her face. You don't understand what you're saying. I understand perfectly, he replied. You once asked me if I felt like time was running out. Maybe it is. But I'm not wasting what we have. Elena stepped closer, her hands trembling as she reached for his. If you stay with me, there's no turning back. He held her tightly. Then don't ask me to. The storm outside grew louder, as if the world itself was reacting to their decision. Lightning flashed, illuminating the room in brief, violent bursts. And then something shifted. The air changed. The ground beneath them seemed to hum with an unseen force. Elena gasped, her grip tightening on Matteo's hand. It's happening, she whispered. What is? He asked, fear creeping into his voice. The choice, she said. It's being made. The world around them began to blur, reality bending in ways that defied logic. Matteo felt himself being pulled, somewhere beyond understanding. But he didn't let go. Not of her. Not now. Not ever. And as everything faded into darkness, Elena whispered the words that had always been their truth. Si tu te mueres, yo me muero contigo.